we're just delighted to see you virtually on the screen, and look forward to spending a few minutes time with you here this morning. We have a lot going on, and we want to tell you about some of those things. So welcome to our spring town hall here this morning. We have a lot going on here. We'll talk about it here in a few minutes. So I want to start off as we normally do by doing our shout outs. And so I want you to tune in as we begin those. And first up will be Dr. Paul Jennings with the Center for Industrial Services. Paul, you're up.
Thank you, Herb. Our shout out today is for Mark Sebi. Mark is our solution consultant in Upper East Tennessee, and Mark brings a strong customer focus and manufacturing expertise to our customers. And as a result, in 2025, Mark made 129 project proposals to manufacturers in his region. He had 84 accepted projects. And of those, we had 67 completed projects with an economic impact of $164 million. So a shout out to Mark.
All right. Thank you, Paul. And next up, we have our Executive Director, John Walden. John?
Good morning, everyone. This morning, we'd like to shout out Mark Alley for his outstanding work in supporting counties with the fire management and emergency management processes. Mark provides valuable guidance to local officials on improving fire protection and emergency preparedness in public services. He also has the ability to translate complex standards into practical solutions in helping communities across Tennessee strengthen their readiness to better serve their citizens. So we'd like to shout out Mark Alley at CTAS.
All right, way to go. Next up, we have the Law Enforcement Innovation Center, and on for Rick Scarborough is Rhiannon Jones. Rhiannon?
Good morning. We would like to shout out Jeff Hunley. He's had a very, very busy couple months, including, as I'm sure a lot of you guys saw, the trip to Hawaii to work with the State Attorney General's office there. And then in the last few weeks, he's had the Master PIO class. His next cohort graduated 2 weeks ago. And then leading up to that, Jeff has just been on the road working constantly. And I think anyone that knows him knows his passion for the job. So he's been pinging back and forth across the state. So we're really proud of the hard work that he puts in and a great job that he does. So.
All right. Thank you, Rhiannon, and thank you, Jeff. I was at Polk Avenue a week or two ago as that was going on, and they had a very engaged group. I think that happens when you get folks in communications together in one place. So that's LEIC. Let's be up next with MTAS and Executive Director Angie Carrier. Angie?
Good morning, everybody. We wanted to recognize Melissa Ashburn. She recently provided training for the City of Chattanooga employees and police officers on their city's new records management and retention policy. She explained the records law, what counts as a public record, how records should be stored. And the reason this is important, the training was requested by the city attorney, and they have faced several public records lawsuits in recent years. So she was able to do this. The class was recorded, so all city employees and officials can watch it and learn the new process. So thank you, Melissa, for helping with these management issues and trying to deter future legal issues.
All right. So, Angie, I think you made President Boyd proud. I think he noticed those B1 UT values there on your background splash screen. So next up is the NAFI Center and Executive Director, Dr. Maisel Ely.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the NAFI Center, it's my privilege to do a shout out to Jessica Sander. Jessica just started at the NAFI Center back in December But in just her short tenure with us at the NAEFI Center, she's done a great job of very quickly acclimating, being diligent to learn best practices in both the complexities of Dash and CAPE, Performance Point, and other systems and programs to support our customers. Her colleagues, her work colleagues, use words to describe her like customer centric, inspiring, hard worker, and our customers themselves always express their excitement that she's a great addition to the team. So with that, it's my privilege to give a shout out to Jessica Sander. Jessica, keep leading. We're all proud of you, and your NAEFI Center colleagues are cheering you on.
Congratulations, Jessica, and thank you, Dr. Ely. Next up is our SMART initiative and Dr. Jennifer Tourville.
Good morning. SMART would like to shout out Ellen Oakes. She is our data analyst that started with us last summer. She was a new grad with her master's degree when she started, and she has done a phenomenal job finding creative ways for communities to use data to target addiction interventions. She's joined 2 grant teams and some other data groups across the state. She is not with us today because she's doing a presentation in Nashville at an event, and she is a fantastic presenter. So big thanks to Ellen for all of her contributions to the team, and we look forward to her new ideas in the future.
All right. Thank you much. And our last agency shout out is the Tennessee Language Center and Executive Director Eric Amos. Eric?
Morning, everybody. Just want to shout out Adrian, Amy, and Shweta. Over the last year or so, they've had some change in their department with a team member leaving and some roles kind of changing here and there and different responsibilities. But through it all, they were stayed the course and did a great job serving the people that they serve. And over the last year, they were a huge part in TLC having one of our best years ever. So just want to appreciate them and their work that they've done.
All right. Congratulations, team. And we don't normally do this, but this morning I wanted to do a shout out. And I have something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is for probably at least 10 years, we've been working to try to get local government things included in the 4-H Citizenship Project. And a couple of years ago, we accomplished, we had a team from IPS and 4-H that put together a curriculum for local government in 4-H. But this past, just last week was the Tennessee 4-H Congress, and we had a team from CTAS and MTAS that presented 3 sessions there at 4-H Congress for all the participants on local government, where they got to experience some of the things that local government provides and learned about jobs in local government. So I want to give a shout out to CTAS and MTAS and the teams that put those 4-H programs on to include local government in what has historically only been a state government experience. So we're excited about that. I'm especially excited about that. And thank y'all for getting that done for me. That's something that's really exciting to me. So congratulations. All right. Next up, as we always do, we want to recognize our new employees that have come on board since the last time we were together or did a Zoom town hall together. And I want to welcome Jill Lewis from MTAS. Jill is a finance consultant, and we're glad to have her on board. We also have from MTAS Leah Frazier. Leah joins us in Middle Tennessee as a training consultant. So we're glad to have you with us, Leah. We have here in this building, Aaron Davis, who is the business manager for the NAEFI Center. And I know they're glad to have him on board. He's had to hit the ground running with all the stuff that the NAEFI Center has going on. And finally, Nyoka Weaver, who is our new admin specialist at LEIC in Oak Ridge. We're glad to have y'all here. Y'all make us better, and we're grateful. We want you to push us as we strive to get better every day. So welcome. We're glad to have you on board. And let us know if we can help you any way as you get cranking. So now it's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you a special guest today, our President, Randy Boyd. President Boyd joined us in 2018 as an interim that fall, and then in 2020 was named as our 26th president of the university. And I won't say anything else except to say that he is our chief champion of the best decade in the history of the University of Tennessee. Welcome, President Boyd. Thanks for being with us.
Yes, I want to make sure we get the terminology exactly right. It's like a slogan. It's the greatest decade in the history of the University of Tennessee, and it won't be the greatest decade if not for the great work of the Institute of Public Service. Well, I'm excited to be here with you this morning. I'm a little disappointed because I expected to see you in person. I guess I didn't do my homework well. So I walk in and I'm expecting to see like I knew it was virtual. So I thought like there'll probably be a few people on the screen, but I get to see all of you in person, and I'm friends with so many of you. Actually, I'm friends with all of you. Many of you I know really well. And so now you're on the screen. So I'm just going to have to go back and relive my 2020 pandemic days and look at the screen instead. It's good to be with you. I'm going to be brief. I want to share just a few things. Actually, I think I'm going to build on Herb's giving shout outs. That's a great theme because what I wanted to share is about shout outs. So my first shout out is to Herb Byrd. February 9th, 20 years or 40 years ago, he joined the University of Tennessee system. Think about it, 4 decades of service. And he's served us incredibly well. I think back on his career, I can't think of anybody else in the history of the University of Tennessee that's done more for this university. And the work that he's done building up the Institute of Public Service has been exceptional. Some of you have been around in the pre-Herb days in IPS, and everything that I've read, everything I've heard, it wasn't as good as it is today by a long shot. So he turned IPS around, built an incredible foundation. Herb, thank you so much for 40 years and everything you've done for the University of Tennessee and Institute of Public Service. I appreciate you. My second shout out is to everybody in IPS. One of the things I'm doing, and actually, in fact, I'm going to have to rush because I'm going to be a little late for my next meeting. I'm going to all the campuses, including UT Knoxville, in 17 minutes to review their engagement surveys. You've all taken the McLean engagement survey. I go through all the campuses, visit with their cabinet, and I'll be doing that with Herb and his team, your team, probably sometime. I'm not sure when we got to schedule. It's probably on the books, but we go through and review all the input that all of you have into the organization. We listen very, very, very carefully to all the comments, all the input. But here's the shout out. Of all the different departments between all the campuses, the system, UT Research Foundation, the Institute of Public Service has by far the highest engagement rate of anybody, but not even close. And the results are always off the charts. You are the model organization for everybody else in the UT system. And when somebody tells me it's not possible to get to a 50 net promoter score, I said, well, Institute of Public Service did it. If they can do it, you can do it. So you are the model for the rest of the system. Keep up the great work. And thank you for filling out these engagement surveys. I just want to make sure for those that maybe were cynical or doubtful, does anybody read them? I read every single one. I read every single comment. We try to find action items to make sure that we're addressing the concerns you have. And the final shout out is again, back to all of you. Just thanks for all the great work you do. I think that there was a comment that I hear often, sometimes it comes in on some of the surveys. Well, Institute of Public Service is the best kept secret in the UT system. I don't think that's true anymore. I think we're getting the word out. I know the people that matter, the people that you serve at the state of Tennessee in particular, in our local cities and counties, the businesses across the state, they know about you and they definitely appreciate you. So the people that you serve know about Institute of Public Service and their opinion of you is sky high. So just keep up the great work. You make the rest of the University of Tennessee look good. Sometimes when we have a faculty or student issue, or maybe we lose on Saturday in a football game, we can always go back and say, well, but remember the great work we do at the Institute of Public Service. So you guys bail us out on a Saturday afternoon from time to time. But thanks for the great work you do. About 2 weeks ago, we had our board, UT Board of Trustees meeting. At that meeting, the board approved our strategic plan till 2030. Now, as we started off by saying, this is going to be the greatest decade in the history of the University of Tennessee. But to do that, it can't just be it can't be just a slogan. It's got to be a plan. You got to have a roadmap. And so the strategic plan is our roadmap to get to 2030, to get to all the targets that we have. Way too long of a conversation to have today, but this is being distributed. We'll have videos on it. Make sure that you review it. We're going to just share a few highlights, starting off with the most important, and that's the Institute of Public Service. You have what we call a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. Your revenue, there's multiple ones for the Institute of Public Service, but the one that I highlighted to the board is our revenue is going to go from 43 million to 80 million by the year 2030. So think about that. We've been in business for 50 years to get to where we're at today. And over the next 5, we're going to double it. That's a BHAG. But I have confidence in this team. We need to think bold. We need to think audaciously, think about new ways in which we can serve. And as you know, we're not a business that's making money. We're doing the revenue that we're increasing is just a testament to the fact that the state of Tennessee, the cities and the counties and the businesses value the work that we're doing and are willing to pay us for it. So if you think about it, that is just a measure of how much people appreciate you. You can do surveys and people say they appreciate you, but if they give you their money because they appreciate the work you do, that's the best measure. And so we got a big goal. Herb has shared with me that he believes, because of the conversations he's had with his whole team, that we can hit this. So again, very exciting goal. A couple other things in the strategic plan, or 3 other things in the strategic plan I'll just touch on quickly. Again, there's dozens and dozens of big, hairy, audacious goals in there. One, we're going to increase our enrollment from 65,000 to 85,000 over the next 5 years. That's also a big, hairy, audacious goal. One way in which we're doing it is increasing our online significantly. Why do we want to grow? Employers all across our state are desperate for the talent we produce to fill the jobs. If you talk to any employer across the state, the most important issue they have is just recruiting talent. That's our job to do. At the same time, and I'm feeling this personally right now, we have students all across the state that are desperate to get into our schools. They call me and they're asking for their help. But we have students that are desperate to get into one of our campuses. And so we want to grow to make sure that we can provide more opportunity to more students. Second big thing that I'd like to call out on the strategic plan is just we want to continue to be more affordable. Here's some statistics that I'd like for each of you to help me share to the public, because we're sometimes misunderstood. We're conflated with these Ivy League schools in the Northeast, and people will say, well, college costs too much. It's going up faster than inflation, and you're going to graduate with tons of debt. Here's a stat. 2 years ago, 46% of our students graduated with no debt. This last year, 54% of our students graduated with no debt. Our goal by 2030 is 65% of our students will graduate with no debt. 2 years ago, those that did have debt had $26,000 worth of debt. So of those percentages that have debt, the average was 26,000. Last year, it dropped down to 24,000. By 2030, we wanted to get it to 20,000 even. So more students graduate with no debt, and those that do have debt will graduate with less debt. We want to continue to make our university more affordable. And then finally, and this kind of ties into making it more affordable, one of the things I'm really excited about, we may be making a big press release about it within the next 30 days. Just had a meeting about this morning, figuring out the date that we'll do it. We're going to pioneer something that hasn't been done in higher education in probably 200 years. We provide knowledge on everything imaginable. Anything you want to learn, you can learn at the University of Tennessee. But the only way you can consume it is either a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a PhD. Who came up with that? Who said that the only way you can actually be competent in a particular skill is to take 120 credit hours? So we're going to pioneer something new. We're going to pioneer a 90 credit hour in certain key fields that there is high demand in the workforce, and that we can make sure that we provide all the knowledge one would need to be successful in that. So we're going to announce the new 90-degree program sometime in the next 30 days. UT Martin, Chattanooga, and Southern, and probably Knoxville are all going to be pioneering one this fall. So why do we do that? Students get to a job faster. Employers get that talent filled faster. And if you think about it, if you can graduate in 3 years versus 4 years, the amount of debt you're going to accumulate should be reduced by 25%. So a lot of exciting things. Again, the entire strategic plan is online. A lot of exciting things to be doing so for you to look into. But I want to conclude by the way I started. Just thank you all for representing the University of Tennessee, one of the best parts of our system. Your stakeholders appreciate you, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, President Boyd.
Thank you.
Did you have to scoot, or do you have time for a question or two?
You know, I was planning on lots of questions, but if I
All
did,
right.
I'm going to be late.
All right.
So I'm going to try to take
Well,
off.
thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it. Say everybody.
I appreciate President Boyd coming to be with us this morning. This is the first time we've had special guests on the town hall. So if this is something that you enjoyed, and if there are other people that you would like to have come speak at our town halls other than our crew that's normally here, let us know. Either let Susan know, let me know, one of your directors, let them know, and we'll see what we can do as we move forward on our town halls to get other guests in. So I appreciate President Boyd coming to be with us and sharing those things. There are a lot of great things happening at the University of Tennessee all across our system, and his leadership has been key to a lot of those things happening, the relationship with our board and some of those things. So when you see President Boyd, tell him thank you. He really does appreciate all that you do. And he is knowledgeable about the things that you're engaged in and the customers you're serving. He hears from them a lot, as I do, about the good things that you're doing for them. So thank you. Next up, we wanted to just give a quick update on some things going on all right, salary pool. So we don't have full budget numbers for anyone yet. But we are working through those as we go through the end of the month in our agency budget hearings and things. But you may or may not have heard that in the state budget, the General Assembly is giving all state employees a 1.5% salary increase. So far for us, 1% of that has been funded. And so we're watching the General Assembly very closely to see if they provide that other 0.5% for us. We'll probably try to figure out a way to do that, whether they come through with it from the state or not. But I wanted to give you that heads up as some of you are planning for what's coming July 1st. We will have that 1.5% salary pool. At our Wednesday leadership team meeting, we'll be deciding how we allocate that and what our plans are for it. So stay tuned. We'll know about that in a little bit. As far as the state funding for all of IPS and our agencies goes, we have about a $20 million allocation from the state. That's up about $400,000 for this year, which covers the 1% of the salary pool, along with some pretty hefty increases in the cost of health insurance. So you don't see a difference in your premiums at this point because the state has elected to cover the increase in the health insurance costs for us. We're very grateful for that. And that's included in some of that state funding that we received this year as well. So with that, we're going to shift gears a little bit. And Tommy Rogers is going to come and share some things going on. President Boyd stole a little bit of our thunder, but that's all right. So there's some things happening within the Institute that Tommy's going to share with you here for a few minutes. Tommy?
All right. Thank you, Dr. Byrd. Good morning, everyone. And I'll say this, I can't wait to get back to my laptop to see what comment Eric Amos is making about me. But I'll jump right into my quick updates. First of all, the compensation study update. So just as a brief recap, the system-wide compensation team has worked with Huron Consulting Group, which is an external vendor. And they've worked on job families and market ranges again, and that will be revealed later this year. And we know that some of our positions at IPS will be impacted, as well as some of our positions fell below the minimum of the new market ranges. And so we've addressed those as well. But we look forward to more information about the overall job families and market ranges when it comes out later this year. But as far as we know, there's some work that we have to do with Huron that definitely impacts IPS. So we need for them to perform an external market analysis for us for some comparable positions in our public service job family, as well as review some compression issues that we have. And several of you, particularly in MTAS and CTAS, are aware of these issues. And so we need to engage with Huron to take a look at that. And so we're going to do that this year. It's something we're working on. The good news is that Huron has already met with leadership team and had a preliminary meeting, and now we're working on a statement of work agreement with Huron and IPS so we can begin our work in a much needed area. So I am excited about that. The next update that I have is about succession planning. So some good news about DASH, succession planning module in DASH. We are helping to pilot that succession planning module in DASH by partnering with UT System HR. So that modules, those are not ready for all of UT System. They want to work through the process, see how it works, test it, and maybe even edit some of the specific pieces in the module, and then create some documentation and training materials. But before they can do all that, they are partnering with us, and we're partnering with them on succession planning and to help develop that module in DASH. And we're doing that so we can identify and develop potential successors across IPS. And that is also happening now. The scope of work with System HR has already been discussed with leadership team. They came to one of our leadership team meetings. And UT System HR is in the process of meeting with each agency executive director, and have already met with several of them to see how this is going to work. So we look forward to being able to share more information about this soon, but to be a part of a pilot where succession planning for all of UT System, I think is a good thing. So we're excited about that. And then the last update that I have, yes, President Boyd, he kind of took this one from me, but employee engagement survey. And so agency presentations will happen on March 27th. And that's going to be from the executive directors. And it's going to be an opportunity for them to share plans for areas of improvement. So just because we've received the highest engagement for the past 3 surveys, we still know there's work to do. And so I'm appreciative of agencies and executive directors looking at the areas of improvement and placing some emphasis there. So on March 27th, we'll be joined by President Randy Boyd and Chief Human Resource Officer, Dr. Brian Dickens. We'll get to hear from us specifically about some things we'll do to improve in those areas. All right, thank you.
And I want to thank y'all for your participation in the engagement survey. As President Boyd mentioned, folks are taking notice of the scores that we have had for some time now. And so folks are across the UT system are starting to ask, you know, what's going on at IPS? How are you able to do that? One interesting thing this year was that almost all the participants had scores that went down because of DASH. And at IPS, we were up over our score last year in spite of DASH. And even the survey folks were questioning how could that be, because they saw that marked difference as part of the survey. So we appreciate it, and we do want to continue to get better because, you know, some of us believe you don't have to be sick to get better. And so we're working on that each and every day, and I appreciate everyone that's contributed to that. Next up, we have Kristen Davis that's going to give an update on our family campaign and also some information on the upcoming campaign for, well, the name of it just left me. She'll tell you as she comes up. Kristen was going to be with us in-house today, but a little bit under the weather. So she's pushing through and going to give this report on Zoom. Kristen?
Thank you, Dr. Byrd, and good morning, everyone. Yes, seasonal allergies have struck, but I'm excited to be with you all here today to give an update First, on the family campaign that we just wrapped up at the end of February. So, sticking with the theme, I wanted to start my updates with some shout outs. Each of the agency ambassadors who, represented your agency and helped out so much, helping us secure yet another year of amazing, outstanding participation where we led our cohort of system-wide units that participate in the family campaign. So UT System, the UT Foundation, and us at the Institute for Public Service, we achieved just under 99%, which is again phenomenal, amazing. Since fiscal year 2022, IPS has achieved between 98 and 100%. So we have such a strong track record of engagement and participation. So thank you so much to everyone who participated. Some of you we've already seen. I've shared some impact reports for different funds that you give to across, across our institute. So grateful for you. More of those will be coming if you have not gotten those yet, and as well as other, fun little swag, branded items, stickers, magnets, all the things that we do to show, our appreciation for your ongoing support. And with that, the other piece that we have been doing for the past few years to, again, say thank you is our raffle. This year we included 2 different drawings. Each is the prize is a $250 gift card redeemable at any of the Tennessee state parks. I shared a little image there all across the state, 62 unique parks, 6 lodges, 36 campgrounds, all of that good stuff, to make sure that no matter where, we work and live, that we're able to enjoy that. So like I said, we had 2 drawings this year to make sure that all participants were eligible and represented. In our first drawing, winner is Joe Griffin from CTAS. I didn't see him on the call today, but congratulations to Joe. I will be reaching out to him. And in our second drawing, Sweta from TLC as part of our second drawing. So thank you again to everyone who participated, and for the winners that I mentioned here, I'll be following up with you directly. And then for Campus Chest, I know I was just talking about family campaign. Now we're shifting gears to a new campaign, but many of you, especially those who've been here, for many years and who've participated in Campus Chest over the years, might have been curious when you didn't see any news about Campus Chest this past fall of 2025. Usually the Campus Chest has been held during the fall semester. Because of several reasons, it was moved to the spring for after family campaign. And this, I know in my new employee orientations, I talk about it. I've talked about it individually with certain teams, but the Campus Chest is unique from family campaign in that it's another appeal that's specifically to UT employees. But for those who decide to participate, your gifts support external nonprofit agencies. Usually, they're member affiliated agencies with a United Way, community shares, those type of things. So any gifts and support through Campus Chest benefit outside of UT, whereas the family campaign that we just wrapped up, all of those gifts benefit gift funds, programs, things like that within the University of Tennessee system and our campuses, colleges, institutes, things of that nature. So for Campus Chess, I did want to give an update for those of you that do like to support this every year. The pledge period will be running Monday, March 23rd through Friday, March 27th. That will be next week. I believe there will be a little bit of flexibility in submitting pledge cards if you're interested in participating, but that they will have a hard cutoff at the end of March, because any, payments, things like that, gifts towards Campus Chest will begin in April for anyone who decides to participate through, something like payroll deductions or something like that. So I wanted to include a couple notes here. I'm also going to be updating the IPS intranet with a lot of this information and including some reminders in next Monday's catch up. But these, if you do decide to participate in this, it is UT, the university, not the UT Foundation, that is collecting and dispersing these funds. So as I said, they typically pass through United Way, Community Shares, or other I'll say like hub agencies that pass through onto the designated nonprofits, or you can choose to not designate to a, member agency level and keep it at the, United Way of Greater Knoxville level. There's a little bit of flexibility there. Some items that I want to note that are much different than Family Campaign are for payroll deduction, that is also an option, but for making a gift, it's only by cash or check. Unfortunately, UT Campus Chest, they cannot accept online gifts, and they're also not doing a paper pledge form this year. So for anyone who has any questions about that, or is interested in wanting to participate, please connect with me directly, and I'm available. I have time this week to meet with anyone who's interested in talking about this a little bit more, and things that you might want to consider if you're interested in supporting this. Namely, that for those who have supported in the past, you might remember that your monthly deductions usually lasted a full calendar year, so January to December. This year, because the campaign was moved from fall till spring, the deduction period is only going to be 9 months instead of 12. So just as you're thinking through, if you're interested in participating, and doing monthly deductions, you're taking your yearly, pledge contribution and dividing that by 9 instead of by 12. So a consideration for that. And then the biggest difference from Family Campaign is that even if you do decide to do monthly recurring payroll deductions, any allocations to Campus Chest do not auto renew annually. So it's a annual sign up period, which I know can be confusing. And again, I'm happy to connect one-on-one with anyone who wants to talk more about this. But yeah, I'll wrap up with look at the catch up that will be coming out next Monday, and updates to the staff intranet as well, if you are interested in participating in the 2026 Campus Chest. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kristen. We're really pleased with the participation that we had in the UT Family Campaign. Although I have to admit, I am just a little bit disappointed that we were 2 people shy of having 100%. It really does help us as we're asking external folks for funds if we can express how much employees invest in our place beyond the work that you do each and every day. When you commit your money, as President Boyd alluded to, it really shows that you care about the place and who we are and what we do and the customers we serve. And it makes it easier when we ask donors to contribute. And so, this year we can say, well, we're almost 100%, but maybe we'll hit it next time. We'll shoot for that. And if anybody wants to talk about, the investment that you make when you give back to the university, we'd love to do that with you. So thank you, Kristen, for that report. And again, if you're interested in giving back to community funds, UT gives us an opportunity for that to be fairly easy if you want to do it through the university. But whether you give back through Campus Chest or not, I hope you'll think about some charitable organizations that are meaningful to you, and being able to give really makes a difference in our communities. And it's another part of the impact that the university has statewide. So, I don't know what we're going to do when we don't have facilities updates to talk about in town halls. but there is a lot of activity going on here at 1610 University Avenue. Today, as we speak, they're moving the furniture in upstairs to our renovated space. And Christy took these pictures for us about a week ago. There have even been a lot of changes since then. You'll notice there's a black floor mold that kind of stands out to me when I look at the picture. It may not to you, but we've gotten those swapped out, and we're back to all gray like we were in the building before to go with the carpet. It looks really nice upstairs. Wanted to share these pictures with you. You can see the decor on the carpet in the lobby where you come up on the elevator there in the picture on my left. And you can see the break room, the kitchen, and how it's laid out there on the right-hand side. We do have technology that will be installed, monitors and some of those kinds of things, and have that yet to be done. But they are moving the furniture in as we speak, which is exciting. You can see there in one of the pictures, looking down one hallway, offices on the left. I love coming up the stairs or coming off the elevator, and you look all the way down that hall, and it's open, it's bright. It's a really nice feel as you get there. And then on the right-hand side is looking down the right-hand side, the side where the restroom doors are, and looking at the offices and conference rooms that are down that hall. And at the bottom, a shot inside of one of the restrooms, and you can see that they've been updated, and we're excited about that. We're still working on getting things ready to go at Polk Avenue. We're moving through the university facilities folks as well as the State Building Commission and some of those things. We have a potential building ownership change in Nashville at Polk Avenue, and we've had to do a few odds and ends that have delayed us a little bit on that work. But as soon as we can get those contracts nailed down, we hope to be announcing what's going to be happening at Polk Avenue. I expect it to go fairly quickly since the building management will be doing all the contracting and be doing the work there. So we're excited about being closer on that, but not quite where we can announce what's going to happen and when just yet, though I hope that'll be soon. So we look forward to those things going on. With that, those are the things that we had planned to share with you today. We have a lot happening beyond that, but I think that's enough for us to talk about. But as always, we will open up the floor to any questions that anyone might have. Susan is monitoring the chat, and you can put your questions in chat, or if you're a brave soul, you can unmute and ask that question live and in person. So are there any questions out there?
Herb, this is Paul. I don't have a question, but I was reminded that I wanted to thank CTAS and MTAS for their help in promoting the Philiptronic scholarships to cities and counties. I think Liz and Francis were heavily involved in that. And as a result of their work, we had the most applicants from cities and counties that we've ever had. So thanks to CTAS and MTAS.
That's awesome. Thank you, Paul. Do we have a question in the chat?
We do.
Awesome.
I've heard that Dr. Byrd wants agencies to focus on innovation. Can he talk a little about that?
So, we even have one agency that has the word innovation in their name. And the kind of work that we do, it's incumbent on us to try to be ahead of the innovators and the audiences that we serve. And for us to accomplish that, we have to be innovative in what we're doing. innovative in how we deliver our services, innovative in using the technologies that are available to us in our teaching and training, innovative in the ways that we try to reach out to customers and connect with them, and thinking about, when we think about customer needs, how can we do a better job and be innovative in reaching them and addressing their needs. We have a larger and larger customer base that we serve. And while probably every one of us would prefer to serve them in person, one-on-one, face-to-face, it's just physically not possible for us to do that. So we need to always be thinking about ways that we can adopt new ways of serving, new ways of connecting, and those kinds of things. So that's kind of the broad brush that I would say about innovation. But in all of our agencies, we have some specific things that we can be doing as far as innovation goes to better serve folks. I know Eric Amos has been talking in the Tennessee Language Center about how do we do some AI work where someone can, for instance, practice speaking language with an AI, what do you call it, Chris? A bot or a application, so that you can have that practice time even if there's not another person live and at home that you can speak with, or using some AI modules to help teach some of the things that we need to teach in languages. AI has application in different ways across all of our agencies. That's a new innovation that if we don't get busy and get on the front edge, we're behind a lot of our customers already. So what is the appropriate and applied use of that? New technologies are coming down the pike every day as far as teaching tools and ways that we can communicate with our customers, and we need to be innovative in thinking about how we do that. So those are just some of the examples that I would give, although every one of our agencies has an example of some new innovation that they are working on testing or applying in how we serve our customers. So I'm sure that your executive directors could share some of the things they have in mind for each agency, and it would be good to talk about that. And as you're together, talk about the things that you hear that are out there or have seen, and let's take them, try them out, see if they work. If they do, let's implement them quickly. If they don't, let's set them aside and go on to what's next. Any other questions?
We have someone who asked if you want to give an update on the Center for Local Planning.
An update on Center for Local Planning. You know, as we were going through the agency list on shout outs, I was aware that we have another agency that wasn't in that list. So I'd like to give a shout out to our most outstanding Center for Local Planning employee, Josh Sudduth. If you haven't met Josh, he's doing a great job in leading a team of one right now in the Center for Local Planning. But we do have news in that on or about April 1st, we will add 3 new people that are senior planners to that team. One starts, I think, March 31st, another one April 1st or 2nd, and then one a week or 2 later on in April. So we're glad to have them on board. We will soon be doing interviews for the GIS person in the Center for Local Planning. And we have the junior planner positions announced, and we'll soon add them to the growing list of employees. So the next time we do this, I'll bet you'll see Josh Sudduth giving a shout out to a new Center for Local Planning employee. Thanks for that question. That's something that we should have included in our list anyway. We're excited about the work that's going on. What else?
Do we have an anticipated date for the move to upstairs at 1610?
I'm sure there is a date out there. I haven't heard a date for moving upstairs. I did learn this morning that we expect the furniture move in to take a couple of days. And so as soon as we get that in and know what we have, we'll be letting everybody know when we'll be moving upstairs. So we've got several things as far as technology that need to happen. For all of our touchdown spaces, we're going with that wide curved monitor that you can just plug into your laptop through USB-C. So all that will function the same, and we'll be replacing, for those folks that have dual monitors, we'll be replacing them with one of those curved USB-C monitors so that everything works the same. All the desks are height adjustable, and we won't have any arms or support for dual monitors. With those, we'll have that monitor that sits on the desk and goes up and down with you. So a lot of those things are things that still need to be in place to get us fully functional. And like I say, the screens on the walls and conference room connectivity and all that, we were waiting to get the furniture in before we were going to start on those installations. But we have been working with the company and the contract over the last week to get those things in. And once we have that nailed down, I think they can move fairly quickly. So I think we may be in sooner than I anticipated. I thought that if we were upstairs by the end of May or 1st of June, that we would be doing pretty good. So it looks like we might be a little bit ahead of that schedule, which would be amazing, I think. Although if I recall, the original schedule had us up there. Well, we had one schedule that had us up there last fall. That one quickly went out the window. And we had one that had us up there in March, but that had to be revised. So, for our place, not too bad if we hit our third estimate and maybe get ahead of it a little bit. That's a little bit of a new twist. So thank you for that question. What else? Any other questions, either by chat or unmute and jump in?
I have a question, Dr. Byrd.
Thank you, Kim.
You can always count on me.
Yes.
When it's 5 till and I ask a question and everyone's ready to go. No, my question is, IPS seems to be on a really positive roll with a lot of strong momentum right now. Are there any issues or challenges that really concern you that we can help address?
Well, being on that innovation track is a big thing that takes effort. It takes investment. So that's a big one. The AI piece is one that we really got to be diligent about getting ahead of. I don't know if it's possible to be ahead of AI as quickly as it's moving, but we do need to try to be on the front edge of the AI movement and how we serve our customers in helping them utilize it effectively. But we have some work to do there ourselves. We noticed lately a post where we had an AI picture generated for one of our agencies, and there's some weird hands and fingers going on in that thing. We've got to pay attention ourselves and make sure that the ways we use it are things that represent us well. It's always a challenge for us in how we engage with the other campuses and the Institute of Ag and other parts of the UT system. One thing the president didn't share about the strategic plan was there's a part in there where we're going to really have to engage with campuses and student groups and faculty members to connect them with our customers to do service learning projects. So if you have cities or counties or manufacturers or different groups that we work with that have a problem, that they would like to get a group in to come and objectively look at, we're going to have to be the connector between those groups and campuses and institutes to connect them to those student and faculty groups, to bring them in, let them work and solve the problem, offer solutions, and engage with students in that way. That helps students get real world experience. It also gives businesses, industries, local government a chance at some free labor and some free thought and informed thought. That's going to be a heavy lift for us, I think. So that's one challenge that I see coming down the pike that we're going to need to engage in. And we just typically haven't done that, I think, at the level that we're going to need to in this new strategic plan. So those are a few things that come to mind. What about y'all? Do y'all have things that you're struggling with that we need to jump in and engage with as far as new initiatives go? Anybody? All right. Anything else? For the good of the cause. Well, let me close by saying this. I believe President Boyd gave me way too much credit for where things are at the Institute for Public Service today. And I want to say thank you to each one of you. I want to say thank you to our IPS leadership team, your agency directors. We have a great group of folks to work with. We have a great group of folks to work for. We have a compelling mission, and each and every one of you are deeply engaged in addressing that mission and serving it and our customers each and every day. That's what makes this place go. And I'm very appreciative, very grateful for all the work that you're doing. And lastly, I want to thank Production Central here at 1610 University Avenue. We have quite a spread here. I wish you could see it. We have Trent Clegg and Patrick Mills and Susan Robertson and Chris Roberts and Tommy Rogers in the house, but they're the ones making all this go. Thank you all for engaging with us in the town hall today. And again, let us know if there's some things you'd like to see us adding to the town hall as we move forward and do these down the road. And so thank you again. I hope you have a great week. We'll look forward to seeing you somewhere down the road. Thank y'all.